right, welcome back from that amazing keynote talk. This is the technology track. Thanks for joining us. We have our next speaker, Yan Ling. Yan is a Senior VP of Products at Shapeways and is responsible for the strategy and execution of the physical product roadmap. She brings over 20 years of product leadership experience in enterprise and consumer software with deep knowledge on SaaS and solutions. I don't know what that is. You'll have to explain it.
Don't worry about it.
SaaS, cloud or hybrid deployments, and systems integration. Most recently, she was Vice President of Cross-Product Management and Market Strategy at SAP, responsible for defining intelligent enterprise product strategy and business process integration roadmap, helping customers accelerate their organization's digital transformation journey. SAP, Yan spent many years in the security software industry, driving product definition, market strategy, strategic technical partnership, and M&A scale growth at Trend Micro, McAfee, and Symantec. Yan holds a BS and MS in computer engineering from the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. She currently lives in the San Francisco Bay Area with her husband and 3 kids. Yan, thank you so much for being here, and I'll leave the floor to you.
Thank you. Now I'm sharing my screen, and let me just go in I think I need to go in the slideshow mode. And then, when I do that, I lose I lose a bit of my own other screen. So when I'm in the full mode. So thank you. I'm just thrilled to be here with so many industry experts who's sitting in front of the new wave of technical advances in 3DP. I have been in the software business for a very long time, but always been the sidelines of 3DP, always been intrigued by this field. And last year, I joined a company called Shapeways. And this is really my first, I'm a newcomer to the space, and I'm really learning on the jobs a lot about the physical and best practices of 3D printing. My track talk is quite different. I'm not, even though in the technology area, I'm speaking mostly about software. And hopefully, that's a different perspective to this track. I'm here really thinking through about how we can accelerate 3DP adoption through software. All right, let's get started. I will start with market opportunities of late and then share some interesting feedback collected from our study on 3DP manufacturing needs with dimensional studies last year, and talk through the best practice to drive automation for end-to-end design to deliver manufacturing process. And then finally, we'll bring together to present an offering from Shapeways to address the needs of our customer and then open up for Q&A. I think last 2 years have been filled with unimaginable change caused by the pandemic, and the manufacturing industry witnessed a perfect storm, a significant disruption in terms of business continuity, operational visibility, remote work, employee safety, and the list goes on and on. However, business have responded well, adapted, and are recovering thanks to the adoption of technology, specifically with digital and process transformation, leveraging software that's based on in the cloud, right? That enabling all these possibilities. We see manufacturers putting technologies in place to enable workers to work, engage, and collaborate with customers, and create more resilient supply chain. We see this trend to continue, and we're at the inflection point where industries will design for a resiliency to respond to ever-changing situations and future uncertainties. Speaking specifically about AM, it's still only in, based on what I've seen, contributing in single digits. I would say less than 10% in terms of overall manufacturing activities across all industries. As the demand continues to outdrive supplies, many companies adopting AM to reduce turnaround time and react quickly to market demands, designing and producing customized products within a shorter time frame, perhaps more locally as well. Customers are expecting high-value products with better and more customizable fit to their specific use cases. As we have seen and heard throughout the last 2 days of the conference, there are so many innovative technologies in 3DP, in hardware and in material, and they're driving more efficiencies, allowing production at scale for many applications. But where we are today, we're still primarily falling to the left of the chart, where AM is predominantly used for prototyping. Right, most applications still catered on low volume parts, and we are starting to drive more interesting projects like the jet engine parts and also other applications. Now, we wanted to leverage software technology to enable wider adoption and really from a full design to production end-to-end process perspective to allow AM to go mainstream. Only when you're in the mainstream where new business models could happen, where service and pay per print type of concept can be set up to allow much more flexibility for both the buyers and the sellers. Last year, Shapeways commissioned a third-party research firm called Dimensional Research conduct a state of 3D printing survey. Was done in July. Dimension polled more than 300 qualified individuals from mid-sized manufacturers across different industry segments. And we found out the latest data reinforces the ongoing efforts to transform the traditional manufacturing market, which is slow, manual, and rigid. Thanks to advance in digital production technologies and software and material, manufacturers of all sizes are positioned to meet the growing demands for faster delivery, lower cost, and greater agility in adapting to changing customer needs and market dynamics. For example, 95% of survey respondents cited an increase in customer requests for high-mix, low-volume production runs, with more than half reporting a significant increase, 25 to 100%, and 17% stating dramatic requests, double or more, respectively. Most of the survey respondents, 72%, are more likely to outsource low-volume production to gain much-needed proof points before committing to specific machines or technologies. We know there's a high cost associated with acquiring this capital. We also found some very interesting feedback regarding software. As on the number indicated that 54% use basic tools already today for manufacturing processes. 72% use 6 or more tools or applications to manage their day-to-day business. Less than 30% consider their systems are integrated. Think about this. Imagine a company who has to use more than 6 different kinds of systems to manage the manufacturing processes. The cost associated with maintaining the underlying systems and the lack of integration, perhaps in most cases, ended up perhaps costing more on the business, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to deal with very inadequate systems supporting the business, and a lot of the manual work gets involved and puts a tremendous amount of burden on the end user. Furthermore, 88% said they face challenges with current 3D software, and they would love to have a better software to increase adoption of 3DP. And The end result, the takeaway is increased adoption fuels growing need for software-driven end-to-end digital manufacturing. By the way, you can download the full report on our Shapeway website. It's a very interesting data set for those who are interested in more details. If you look at this chart in terms of the workflow, end-to-end workflow in a typical manufacturing process, it looks pretty straightforward, right? Anyone orders, set up an order, uploading a design file, getting all the way from planning to pre-production to actual manufacturing and shipping. But every step is unique for AM. Typically, the first set of workflow is covered by CRM or order management tools from big vendors or small vendors like SAP or Salesforce. However, none of the popular software vendors today are experts in 3D printing to apply best practices to guide the outcome of the software. For instance, one of the very first steps in this whole process is uploading a design file. But based on our experience, 80% of the files that are uploaded to Shapeway's platform must be revised for successful printing. Our software provides the automatic printability analysis in the backend, including file correction and optimization. If the file is determined to be unprintable, then our platform automatically communicates feedback and issues with the designer and offer paths for resolution. In other manufacturing areas, many MES systems, the execution portion of the manufacturing, are set up to support the traditional manufacturing process, not 3DP. At Shapeways, we apply our best practices in pre-production, trade planning, nesting, and other manufacturing sub-processes to drive operational efficiency for AM. Now, the interesting part is the middle of the whole workflow, which is planning. Today, supply chain planning is key to manage risk. As much as we want to utilize planning tools, there's a lack of data transparency among ecosystem partners in current industry and the network, because many systems today are still sitting on someone's on-premise. And if you wanted to, we can take advantage of the planning tools if the underlying data is not there to be modeled. Our approach to drive adoption is quite holistic, and it's centered around two differentiating values. With Auto, which is our software platform at Shapeways, is to accelerate digital transformation for all manufacturing processes and for customers small and big. We want to drive the process transformation with best practices and automation to improve efficiencies and enhance overall productivity. Of course, I want to enable wider and faster adoption of AM, leveraging the concept of supplier network to allow printing as a service business model so that we can eliminate barriers to entry, creating a much efficient at scale additive manufacturing production. So many of the manufacturers that we surveyed would love to outsource some of their 3DP activities because they don't want to invest upfront, or perhaps they don't have the budget to put it into the high cost of obtaining the specific machines and materials. So leveraging a network system, we can take advantage of each other's capabilities and allow in a much wider, faster adoption of 3DP. Just to give you a little bit of flavor of our software today, Auto is designed with manufacturing automation in mind, truly to drive the end-to-end process transformation and experience, leveraging the best practices from Shapeway. Its features allow customers to create quote place orders with a 3D file, select the material and the finishes, and receive the final products in one transaction. The user experience is greatly enhanced by the ease of use and the transparency of the process. So here are some screen caps of the typical user experience. This is for the front end. The same software platform does the pre-production planning and manufacturing work in the back end to optimize production criteria and end-of-day margin. So we talk about the product, a lot of feedback, closely with our design partners and manufacturing network participants. They really resonate well with our approach. The values are validated as they recognize the revenue opportunity they can gain from leveraging a holistic offering. The expertise from well-known industry leaders like Shapeways can bring to the business and the scale we can achieve together to be part of that ecosystem, to leverage each other's capabilities. So in a nutshell, our manufacturing platform goal is to open the gate for all manufacturing, big or small, serving an industry to gain access to digital manufacturing without the hefty CapEx or the suite of required tools and ongoing hassle associated with setting up their own dedicated production capabilities. With that, I'm open for Q&A.
All right, thank you so much. That was very interesting. Just so you know, if you have a question, you can pop it into the Q&A tab here. We don't have any questions right now, but if you guys think of any, please put them in there. And I have a question. So I'm just curious, like, are there different off-the-shelf software technologies that you're leveraging, or different packages that you're integrating with, or, maybe more for the technical audience, like how does this work? What are the nuts and bolts behind it?
So the whole end-to-end process requires quite a bit of different software tools, if you will. At Shapeway, our auto, we actually built it from the ground up. So it has the front end feature sets to allow a partner or manufacturer partner or design partner to set up the order intake process. So with their customers, they can allow them to upload through our interface, upload the design file. And then we take that order and with the proper material and finish selections, and actually feed it into the backend to provide the actual finished product and ship to their customers on behalf of that design partner. The design partner may choose their own kind of a design or manufacturing capabilities to fulfill the order as well. So the fulfillment can be done throughout the supply chain, right? So the particular manufacturer is not limited to its own capabilities. One of the things we wanted to also do, is to eliminate the various software tools. I talked about, companies typically have more than 6 applications to build that end-to-end process. And the more different software you put in, the more integration headaches you have. We, of course, build it from the very initial stage of ordering all the way to fulfillment. So if you're leveraging the platform, you essentially get the whole thing. So there's not much integration to be needed unless you wanted to have all the data feed into a finance system. A lot of times purchase order will float into a finance system and getting all the accounting stuff associated with it. So we have APIs to allow that backend ERP integration, if you will. But the front end, it's pretty much a complete system to take care of all your needs in terms of order intake and the experience delivering to the end customer.
Awesome. All right, we have a question here that says, is OTTO Shapeway's own software? Is the next generation software after InShape?
Yes, Auto is Shapeway's own software. It's a new software that we designed and built from scratch, leveraging all the best practices we had from our own kind of a proprietary InShape, if you will, solution. But this is really InShape has been traditionally used by our own manufacturing activity. So Shapeway uses OwnShape for all its manufacturing requests coming from a self-subscribed model. But Auto is external facing, is for all the manufacturers and suppliers to consume, to be leverage, to leverage its interface and service a much bigger audience, so that everyone can participate in that supplier business network.
Awesome. Next question is, did you mention the 80% of designs have to be changed for printing? What is Shapeways doing to train the designers to lower this rate?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have been working with a lot of design partners closely in terms of educating them on the threshold, the material finish and selection, to just that. So reduce the back and forth quite a bit. Our software today is quite sophisticated to kind of auto-tune, if you will, but the 80% just in general, in terms of all the fixes we need to include small fixes as well as big fixes. A lot of times we're getting on the phones with the designers to kind of walk them through the best way to build their file in order to be much easier to digest by our tools. But yeah, this is a much collaborative effort, especially as we introduce new material. You'll hear more in the coming month, where we invest in some interesting new material to be available to our marketplace partners. So it's always an iterative process with our work and with external partners.
Great. Let's see. I think that was both the questions. And I had one more question. Is this software going to stay exclusive to Shapeways, or will there be pieces of it maybe you could, lend to other industries or license to other industries? What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Auto is for everyone. So we have already launched the Auto software last October. In kind of a freemium model, so you can sign up for free without any initial investment. So you can participate in our network ecosystem right away. Great. And more information can be found through our Shapeway website or autosoftware.com.
Great. This question says, is there any real-time 3D printing monitoring software programs currently on the market?
I'm actually not aware of real-time 3D monitoring software. That could be an interesting next next area to be discovered. So no, I'm not aware, but do let me know if you hear or know of any offhand.
Okay, awesome. Are there design guidelines available for 3D printing?
I believe so. We have our set of customer service teams to build these best practices with our design shops and collaborate on their particular best guidelines.
Carol, who asked that question, I also have a resource for you if you're interested. You can PM me later. So, yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all the questions. Thank you so much. This is very interesting. I think very important to understand that we want to design things, we want to order things, but there's got to be some software behind all that. So
absolutely, again, and they are all in different waves of updates, right? A lot of software exists today for many years, and in traditional manufacturing there's a suite of software, but I think in 3DP there's still a tremendous need for advanced software. And that's why we're here to build up that layer and help all the participants in AM to take advantage of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We will step down from here and take a little break before our next talk. Thanks again.
Thanks a lot.